Hello inflatable fans, I hope you're all well. This is everything that I took with me on my Great Glen Kayak Trail trip. And yes, I got everything that's here into the Chelan 140. So what I thought I'd do is I'd just go through each of these bags and show you what I took with me. Before we do the bags, we'll just talk about a couple of other essentials. Now, I was wearing a dry suit, and over the top of that I used the Baltic Flipper. Now this is a reversible gilet slash PFD. I really like this. It's really good. I have buoyancy tested it. I have done a video on that. You might have seen it. So that's what I use for my PFD. I used the Winterwell. This is a 250cm fiberglass paddle. Weighs just over a kilo. I have reviewed this on this channel as well. It is a high angle blade. Another essential was a bilge sponge, which I actually didn't end up using, but that was tucked into the back of my seat. And then obviously portage wheels, because there's a lot of portage in, some quite long ones through rough terrain. These are the Sea-Tug portage wheels. Again, I've done some other videos using those. These coped admirably. Rubber tyres. You know, there's nothing pneumatic in them, but apart from being a bit squeaky, they were great. This is a solar powered backpack, and it does have waterproof zips, but as I say, never tested this. It did get tested this holiday, and I'm pleased to say it stood up admirably. I did double bag it at times, put it in another dry bag, but when we did get caught out in the rain, it was absolutely fine. What I used this bag for was, this was my kit bag, so I had tripods in here, and I used this to charge my power banks, which I've got here. So I have talked about these as well. I'll put links to these in a separate thing on my Amazon shop. As you can see, there's power to that coming in now through the solar power. So I use these just to help keep these topped up, so that I could keep everything else topped up, like camera batteries and the hover camera, etc. That's just my pumps, head torch, light, and then I took my trusty, also a power bank, lamp, clock, temperature gauge. And that all went in there, and I attached that to the front of the craft. I use this just for keeping my house keys in, and my wallet and etc. Everything that was essential. And I also had a CRT key and a radar key stashed in there too, so that I could use the facilities on my travels. So all that was for basically was, that was like my purse, if you like. This little Hamswan dry bag, waterproof bag, 10 litre, I use this just for keeping my camera batteries in for easy access. So these were kept near my feet, so that if I needed to swap my camera batteries over, that kind of stuff, all that kind of thing was in there. I also had this little see-through dry bag near my feet. As you can see, there's not much in it now. This was my snack bag. I had the bub up with me, cards on the table, didn't really need to take that. I used it once, but the other guys used their sails a couple of times, or tried them. And cards on the table, I think kayak sails are largely a bit gimmicky. At the times when they're actually any good, the conditions are generally quite dangerous. So didn't end up using that, wouldn't take it again. Now we come to the big stuff. But actually, before we do, I'll just talk about this one. This one was largely empty and stuffed under one of the keel hatches, purely because I used this just to take stuff down to the boat with in the taxi. So it had my dry suit in, a couple of spare dry bags, a couple of spare lashes, that kind of stuff, and I rolled that up and I just took that underneath one of the cargo storage areas in the boat out of the way. It was useful in case I needed a spare dry bag to keep dry stuff, wet stuff in, that kind of thing. This was my tool bag. So when I say tool bag, what do I mean? Well, I had a little pouch in with some tie grips, knife, spare torches, that kind of thing. There was my pump, some lighting paper for fires, little Mora Eldris knife, Camillus hatchet, saw, leggings, first aid kit, bit of cordage, boat repair kit, spare little pump, and then a little utility bag in with polymorph plastic, tape, more tie grips and a bit more cordage just in case it was needed. Out of all that, I ended up using these bits. But you never know, might have needed more. We'll do this one next. This one had, this is just a dry bag that I had. This one actually had my tent in. So inside there is my tent, and I shoved that under one of the cargo stores as well, right at the front of the boat, just to make sure that the tent stayed dry. It's the Decathlon Fresh Black 2-second tent. Really like that, really impressed with it. And then we come to the two beasts. This one, food bag, this one, camping bag. So let's just have a quick look in this one first. I took enough food for 5 days. So there was a little plastic container with some washing stuff and some clip locks to seal any food bags. Baby wipes. All the food was in separate dry bags, so everything was double bagged in there. I haven't taken everything that's left in there out. I've just taken a few out just for demonstration purposes. So I had main meals in a separate bag, breakfast in a separate bag, drinks in separate bags, you get the idea, just to make it easy for me. I did use this a little bit. This was my mug throughout, and use that to store a bit of water in from time to time. Gas canister, fire maple stove. Really like that. That was great because everything I was using was army ration packs, boil in the bag kind of stuff, so that was useful for that. This proved more useful than I expected. So inside there, that's all the cutlery I had with me. A few plastic sporks from army ration packs. These mess tins are steel, got these from a army surplus place, and this was the one that I used the most for eating with. And then this, I really like this. It's a little BCB stove, I'll show you what I mean. So again, this is another fire maple product. It's a titanium little stove. Good wind protection on it, and I really like it. I use hexi blocks and these fire dragon things to use that, and I use that for heating up noodles and then adding the ration packs to it, and it made really good meals. Brilliant, really like that. Really rate this little thing. So lightweight and easy to use. And then we come to that other essential, water. I kind of went a bit over the top here, I think. So this is a Lixada water filter, and it's one of those extreme ones that does just about everything. But because I was a little bit, you know, over the top, what I did was, this is a Brita water filter. This is predominantly for tap water to make drinking water bottles, which is really quite handy. And there's a little filter in there. So what I did was, I would filter water through this system into there and then drink it out of there. But because this is a squeezy bottle, I also use this for filling these pans up with when needs be. Out of that one, it was quite useful. This one, the Pure Clear, which is a very robust filter in its own right. This has a filter, that straw down the middle is the filter. This was what I drank from in the boat. I would often just dip that in the water, fill it up, and then just drink directly from it. Very good. You do have to tug a little bit on the straw, you know, to get the water through, but it's not a problem. I got on alright with it. A lot of people say they struggle with it, saying it's really hard to get water out of it. Didn't find that, and considering I sometimes do because of my paralysis, I don't have a really good seal. I didn't have an issue, so I don't know what people are complaining about, in all honesty. Last but by no means least, now this is the Aquaglide TPU bag that my Cirrus kayak came in, and as soon as we said we were doing this trip, I knew I was going to end up using this to carry a lot of gear in, because it's really tough, really robust, and a brilliant dry bag. So what was in that bag? Well, there was a British Army bivvy bag, and then there was a tarp which I kept in this bag to stop it contaminating everything else. That was the ground sheet that I used under the tent. These bags, it's toilet roll in there, bit of toilet roll in there, all sorts of little bits and pieces, admin stuff in there, toothbrush, spare first aid kit, Skin So Soft, medications, all those kind of bits and pieces, they're all in there. This one, I mean, these are all undone now, but this one was some changes of clothes. That was where dirty clothes went. I didn't take a coat. Didn't think I'd need one because I had the dry suit, but I also took this poncho, fold away poncho, which is really huge, and a spare down blanket, which also folds into a poncho. Took that with me too. And so if I needed to be warm, I just put that on and then the poncho over the top. That's my little fold away chair. Hammock and tarp. Took a tarp with me just in case I wanted to create an outdoor shelter. Hammock in case I wanted to lounge anywhere. None of those things happened because by the time we finished on a day we were too exhausted and predominantly went straight to bed. And then this is what I took for my sleeping setup. The Keelos Gear Aero Cloud sleeping bag, sleeping pad Elite. I can get the words out today. Really like that cracking little bit of kit. Then the Keelos Gear inflatable pillow. Like that too. It's got one of those elastic straps on it, so it straps to the mat, stops it sliding around. And then in here, well, said about being double bagged, that is my Rab Ascent 500 sleeping bag and the Zephyrback down blanket, which I use for sleeping with. Yeah, that's it. And I got all of that into the Chelan 140. Now granted, in hindsight, there's a lot of stuff I could have left at home. But like I say, it was a 5-day trip. We had no idea what would be open and what wouldn't be open in terms of facilities. So I took enough to keep myself going for 5 days. So that's all for this video. Let me know if that's been useful to you. Let me know if there's anything you would have taken or wouldn't have taken, or if there's anything you want to talk about, do it in the comments. Thanks for watching. You take care. You know what to do about liking and subscribing. Cheerio.